Of all the German heavy tank designs during World War II, one vehicle was very different from the others and aroused considerable curiosity among the Allies when they first encountered it. A vehicle that combines the armor of a heavy tank with a weapon never before mounted on an armored fighting vehicle, a 38 cm mortar. This incredible vehicle was designed for a specific purpose: urban combat. In such a situation, a huge shell could demolish entire buildings and defensive structures. It could deliver a powerful high-explosive shell at close range, or be used to bombard enemy positions at long ranges. This vehicle was the German Sturmtiger. The origins of the Sturmtiger began with a request from the German army, Heer, for a heavy howitzer, specifically to assist in urban combat, where a well-defended building could withstand an organized attack or otherwise be resistant to even normal caliber artillery fire. What was required was a gun capable of firing a large high-explosive projectile both directly and indirectly, and mounted on a well-protected chassis. This call was put into practice by Hitler on August 5, 1943, after the failure of other ideas to create high-angle guns mounted on tank chassis. Prototype into production. Despite Hitler's order to develop the vehicle in August 1943, only one prototype was initially ordered, perhaps indicating how much confidence there really was in such a weapon. However, the vehicle was built on the Tiger tank chassis using an armored superstructure built and assembled by the Brandenburg Ironworks in Kirchmoser. The vehicle was ready and was shown to Hitler at the Ayers training camp in East Prussia on October 20, 1943. The production time is impressive, less than 3 months. Despite the impressively rapid construction of the prototype, mass production was seriously hampered by the slow pace of production of the Tiger I tanks and was not expected to begin until mid-1944. Any production of the Sturmtiger at the same time as the Tiger I would prevent production of the Tiger I. Since priority was clearly given to the Tiger I tank, the Sturmtiger had to wait. Meanwhile, the prototype was being tested and tested. By May 1944, the Sturmtiger prototype was busy in testing and fire trials to develop range tables, but production had not yet begun, and the concept was likely abandoned. However, rather than abandon this idea, Hitler ordered that, instead of ceasing production of the Tiger I, the Sturmtiger be built on the chassis of the Tiger I tanks, which had already seen action and had received serious damage. They were sent back to the factory to be refurbished, not just repaired. 12 Sturmtiger units had to be trained. Each Tiger I cost Rm 250,800 Reichsmarks to assemble. But since these Sturmtiger were built through reconstruction, it is impossible to calculate the cost of rebuilding each hull, as each vehicle used suffered varying degrees of damage. Despite this, the cost of building the Sturmtiger was estimated at Rm 53,000, which when added to the Rm 250,000 means each cost more than Rm 300,000, approximately $4,255,264. This was a huge amount of money, considering that the Panther tank only cost Rm 117,100, approximately $1,660,971. 12 Sturmtigers were built, which together with the prototype made a total of 13 Sturmtigers, completed by the end of September 1944. 5 more were ordered by Hitler on September 23, 1944. These additional 5 vehicles were all completed by the end of December 1944, followed by an order for more, although they were never produced. A total of 18 Sturmtiger were built. Chassis. The Sturmtiger's undercarriage was identical to that of the Tiger I, except that only the prototype had wheels with rubber tires. Production Sturmtigers would have been fitted with rubber-tired road wheels to help support the Sturmtiger's additional 8-ton load over the Tiger I, but all were fitted with the steel-rimmed wheels common to later Tigers. Wheels with rubber tires are one of the distinguishing features of the original Sturmtiger prototype, although even these were later replaced by wheels with steel rims. The engine remained the same as on the Tiger I. the Maybach HL 230 TRMP-45, and due to the additional weight, the Sturmtiger was noticeably slower and less maneuverable than the Tiger I. If a damaged later production Tiger I tank was used for construction, the Sturmtiger would be equipped with a more powerful Maybach HL 230 TRMP-45 V12 gasoline engine with 700 HP power. Weapon. The Army's original request was for a 210mm howitzer, but lacking suitable options, they turned to Rheinmetall Borsig. The pistol itself, at that time, existed in two iterations. One of them was a ship's anti-aircraft gun, used to fire a parachute anchor with a cable reel, which created a danger for aircraft. The second, RTG-38, was a ground-based system. Both systems were manufactured by Rheinmetall Borsig in Düsseldorf. It was the RTG-38 that formed the basis of the Sturmtiger's weapons. With a range of 3,000 meters, it was originally planned for use on Kriegsmarine shore installations firing depth charges at submarines. To be used in a vehicle, it had to find use as a demolition weapon and had to be modified for that role. The battle. 16 of the 18 Sturmtigers were assigned to Assault Companies 1000, 1001, and 1002 for the defense of the German homeland in 1944. These companies, known as Panzerstürmerkompanien, were issued with 14 vehicles each. In the organizational structure, Sturmtiger were paired, 2 vehicles forming a ZU platoon. 1000 Rada was formed from 2 Zugs, with a total of 4 vehicles. The second Zug of 2 Sturmtigers was sent to France at the end of August 1944. The first Zug was then sent to Hungary, where by mid-September 1944, it was assigned to the 109th Tank Brigade. By the end of October, the second Zug had appeared, was recalled back to Warsaw, and then sent back to Germany for refitting. In December 1944, the 1000th Company was assigned to the 15th Army as part of the 6th SS Panzer Army. But by the time of Operation Wacht am Rhein in the Ardennes, there were only 3 combat vehicles. The record of this unit's use of the Sturmtiger in combat comes from a unit history of the U.S. 113th Cavalry Group, which records that on February 5, 1945, they were fired upon by 10 rocket-type shells that caused huge explosions. 2 more rounds followed against Pier City. It is believed that this was an attack by 1000 Company, and when the 113th Cavalry Division captured the city of Bedburg, they found an abandoned Sturmtiger, which they attributed to the rocket attack. The U.S. 737th Tank Battalion, during operations in the Menden area, also reported an attack by a Sturmtiger, presumably belonging to this unit. During the Battle of Duren on 26 February 1945, one Sturmtiger was hit when the vehicle got stuck in a ditch on the side of the road while leaving the city. Immobilized, he received at least 3 shots to the rear from a Sherman tank of Company C, 743rd Tank Battalion, part of the U.S. 30th Division. When the 80mm thick rear armor was penetrated and the vehicle became stuck, the crew jumped out. All survived these multiple blows, but one crew member was shot by infantry while escaping. This vehicle was discovered in March 1945 by the 464th Artillery Evacuation Company and sent to the UK for evaluation. The vehicle was later written off, but the gun remains on display at the Bovington Tank Museum. Conclusion. In some ways, the Sturmtiger represented a very clever way of reusing the damaged hull of the Tiger tank. Hulls were expensive to make, and anything that allowed the Reich to use against the Allies was a good move from a resource standpoint. However, the logic of the weapons system is less clear, since they actually played no role at the time of their creation. They might have played a role in the battle for a city like Stalingrad, but that was all over long before the first Sturmtiger entered service. The combination of a unique weapon system with very limited utility on a heavily armored platform was not what Germany needed at the time. It would have been better to simply consider installing an effective anti-tank gun in this casemate, as vehicles such as the Stug 3 had proven useful as cheap and effective tank destroyers. Even such a short-barreled howitzer could find use in infantry support, and both ideas would undoubtedly be the best use of these valuable hulls as a means of attacking a densely populated urban area. When urban fighting was by then defensive in nature, it was of little use. This is supported by the Sturmtiger's actual combat history, where it simply failed to find a clear role in the subsequent war. It's an interesting weapon, but essentially useless considering the resources put into it.